Well, that's how I start each episode. I usually have like an outtake funny part and then
it gets boring after that. Like that's going to be the edit right there?
Probably. Welcome, everyone, to this week's Cougar Chat. I'm Father Joe, the chaplain here.
I'm Mr. Stolpa, Dean of Intellectual Formation.
And first, we'll give you some updates about things going on at school. So it is officially Holy Week. Can you believe that?
No, it feels more like March 13th to me.
That may be because that's the day we're recording. This is getting uploaded
Industry
on
secret
Holy Week.
right there.
So we will be in Holy Week by the time you're listening, which is crazy. The semester's flying by. It's a very special week, a time where we commemorate the death and resurrection of Jesus. So we'll have a regular school week, but then Thursday, there is the Chrism Mass happening at the cathedral. We'll have a couple of students attending that. And then Friday, there's no school because it's Good Friday. And then we have spring break. So all of Easter week will be on break, including the Monday after. So it's a nice long little break there. But before we get to all that, during this Holy Week, we've got a couple of events going on. So first of all, we'll have a Eucharistic procession here throughout the whole school building. We do this every year.
Why do we do this, Father?
Well, we used to do it during Lent, but then it began to get moved to Holy Week. I think it's just a good opportunity for the students to see traditional Catholic Eucharistic devotion in an unusual way. You know, normally we do the adoration on Fridays, but the procession is a slightly different sort of experience. And
so I feel like
way of honoring the true presence of Jesus.
Yeah, I would feel these processions are not that common. I would say you don't see them, at least in America. I don't think there's. I remember one year we were going to Chicago, and I remember the Eucharist procession. I think we were going to a Cubs game, so it must have been for Corpus Christi. And I remember just seeing the procession and down the busy streets of Chicago. It was interesting to see that, and then everybody going along with them.
Right.
And I thought it was a fascinating thing to see. I had never seen it at school until last year or the year before when we did it. So it's nice that we do it.
Yeah, I think it's, again, a powerful way of really showing in action what we really believe about the Eucharist. Because a procession doesn't make sense unless this really is Jesus. Because if you come and see it, it's like very formal. We have servers, we have incense. I put on all my big vestments, and I carry the monstrance with the Blessed Sacrament in it throughout all the hallways of the school, and the students will all be there. We sing, and then we eventually all gather in the gym and have a short little song of praise, and then they go back to their classes. So it's a pretty cool event. That'll be on Monday of Holy Week. And then also we've got a presentation on Wednesday, March 27th at 6 p.m. That'll be another Partnering with Parents meeting. We've been doing a few of these. You had one of them for intellectual formation.
Yep, we did one back in, I guess that was the end of November.
Yep.
I think it was the intellectual formation. Mr. Luia did his in the end of January.
Right.
So we're trying to hit the three pillars, the spiritual, intellectual, and social.
Yes. So if you want to get a better sense of our plan and strategy for spiritual formation here at Lansing Catholic, then be sure to come to that meeting.
And if you want to meet the man behind the microphone over here, Father Joe will be the one who will be up there on stage.
I will be. You'll have to sit and listen to me the whole time. It'll be longer than a 10-minute podcast. So,
well, don't tell him that.
What else? Anything else going on?
No, but yesterday was every little kid's favorite Mass, though, Palm Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
So it's always the one where the kids love to sword fight with the palms and to wave them around and
make their little origami.
Oh my gosh,
with the palm branches.
Yeah, all of a sudden everyone's is a master in origami with they make the crosses, they make all the fun stuff, and I can never do that. I was peeled them like string cheese.
I once found a picture of Pope Francis, or one of the popes.
Made out of palms?
No, he had this really elaborate big palm branch thing that somebody wove together, and it was like the cool looking thing I've ever seen in terms of palm branch arrangements. And so I sent the picture to the parish secretary and I said, "Can you make this one for me?"
Did she?
No, she didn't.
Oh.
She just laughed.
So, Father, with the palms, this is very similar to my ashes question that you really enjoyed back in the day. Where do we get the palms from at all these churches?
Well, we at the parish, we ordered them from Michigan Church Supply, which is up near Saginaw, Michigan. Where do they get them from? I don't really know, to be honest.
Do you think they're real palms, or where are
they're definitely real palm branches. They probably get them from some greenhouse someplace. They're probably from the U.S., though. I don't think they would survive
free-range palms.
If they're coming from the Middle East, they'd be like dead by the time they get here, probably. I don't know, to be honest. I'm not a palms branches expert.
I'll ask somebody else.
Yeah. Well, for our interview today, we brought into the studio Mr. Kenny Goodrich. He is our new athletic director. So welcome to the show, Kenny.
Thank you guys for having me.
Hi, Kenny. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Great to be here.
So, Kenny, you used to be the strength and conditioning coach at Michigan State, right?
Yep. I was one of them, yes.
And you decided to make the transition to high school.
Yep.
What have you found is the difference in working with high school students as opposed to the college kids that you trained at MSU?
So there's a lot more involvement with their whole family, for one. Obviously, in a college setting, like I very rarely dealt with parents. It was a lot of times I'm dealing more with the coach. Where here I'm dealing some with the coach and then some with the parent as well. But honestly, I actually like it better because you have more of a connection with who they are. I've got to meet not only the kids' parents, but their brothers and sisters that are maybe in partner schools, grandparents, like, aunts and uncles that are coming in to meet, they're like, oh, hey, my, uncle was an alum from here. And the parent will tell me that or something, and get to meet all these different people. And it's more of a sense of community, a real sense of community, like in multiple, the Bowling Green State University and Michigan State, like they'd always talk about family, but being here at a high school, it is more of an actual family feel. I think more similarly to what it was in Bowling Green because it was a smaller college than Michigan State, but I think it's more true here where we have families that have, grandparents, parents, now the kids all have come through Lansing Catholic and all are a part of it, and they come to the games and support, and it's cool to see that element versus just working with the kids themselves.
Are you able to recognize in any of our kids when you talk to them, when you see them on the court or the field or wherever, anything that would stand out to you? Okay, so at MSU I knew this person would be such and such. Do you see this kid will be perfect for that MSU, or this kid will be a college athlete because of dedication they see? Are you able to spot any of that here?
You can see commitment. I think that's the biggest thing that gets kids at the next level. We used to talk about this. I worked with the women's soccer program and women's golf program at Michigan State. Both of those have the coaches there. They've won conference championships. I worked with wrestling and gymnastics as well, who now gymnastics has won some conference championships. But specifically with golf and soccer, we used to talk about, where you are to where you want to be. A lot of people talk about, oh, this kid does extra, or they're going in to do extra work or extra shooting or extra, hitting or whatever it may be. But that gap from where you are to where you want to be isn't extra. It's what's required. So I think when you can see the kids that are doing what's required to be successful and to reach their goals, those are that's what really stands out, coming in and shooting on any time that they can, or knowing that they're going to, we have kids that play football that go and play 7-on-7, and, you'll see on social media them or their parents post that they were in Florida over the weekend at a 7-on-7 tournament or at a club soccer tournament, and their aspirations are to play professionally in those sports. And seeing those things, they're doing what's required to get there, not necessarily just doing extra. Because if you're just doing it because you think you need to versus you feel compelled to achieve because this is what's required for me to get there.
I've always thought too that, and I've been around a lot of high school athletes, and I know you've been around of college athletes, that what really separates a high school kid from a D1 or a D2 or any college level kid is not skill, because a lot of them have the same level of skill. It's that extra effort they can give. It's that extra effort or extra little bit of dedication that you can provide off the court, on the court, off the field, on the field. What motivates these people, what pushes them, seems to be that little extra bit that you were talking about there.
Yeah, 100%. There's I don't know who originally said it, but they would say talent wins games and that much more wins championships. And when you get that, like our girls basketball program, that much more is with a large number of those girls on that team, which is why we were successful as we were last year. And then, obviously this is pre-recorded, but in the potential of making a run right now. So they have that much more, probably above average amount of people on a team. They are an outlier within themselves to have that many kids going on to play, 7 that signed a national letter of intent to play college sports, which is, for a team of 15, that's pretty crazy.
Now, Father, this is a very exciting week for Kenny as well, because not only is he the athletic director here, but he's also becoming Catholic.
That's right. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Yes. So
we're really excited for you and your family, and there's a lot coming up these next few days.
Yeah, and it's been amazing. Honestly, the whole process of becoming Catholic is what led me to find out about the athletic director position.
Right, because you were on the process of conversion before, even before last summer when we interviewed you. So, independent of coming to Lansing Catholic, you were becoming Catholic through your own faith journey.
Yes, we had, and it's amazing how the Lord has worked in our lives to get our kids into Catholic school. When we lived in Bowling Green, Ohio, we were making the move we had our kid, we visited St. Aloysius there, had the kids enrolled, we're ready to go. I got the job at Michigan State. We moved 3 days before school started up here, so we just enrolled them in Okemos where we live, not knowing really anything that was around, because it was from when I accepted the job to when we moved, I think was like 10 days. Like it was insane. Like the turnaround maybe was longer than that, but it felt like
it's probably 11. Yeah.
It might. Yeah, exactly. It was insane. And God bless my wife that she, because I was already up here working and she was still in Ohio getting the house around. But then through the relationships we built with different people in where we live, found out about St. Martha, and their kids were going there, and how great the parish was. And coming out of COVID, we're actually able to like go to things in person again, because we moved here right before COVID started, like 5 months before it kicked off. So
perfect time.
Yeah, perfect timing for your kids to not know people.
Yeah, right. Try meeting your neighbors when a pandemic is going on.
Yeah, it's a little weird. You're like, hey, look at that kid across the fence.
You get really used to the Kroger delivery or Kroger pickup people.
Yes. But so we toured St. Martha and decided to have our kids. Our youngest was going to be starting kindergarten, and our son was going into 4th grade, and we decided to keep our oldest at Okemos because there was a class of only boys for her class, and the principal told me not to do that to my daughter, and I said I don't want to do that to myself. Being a dad.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with that.
No, so I was like, it's okay. She'll, we knew the opposite, the potential of her coming here even prior to me knowing about this job, and we met with Deacon Carl about our CIA for what that would mean for the next year. Prior to Holy Saturday last year, we got invited to a cookout where I met Deacon Jim. Prior to him being a deacon, he told me that his wife worked at Lansing Catholic, was Mrs. Collum, and we were talking about that a little bit, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. At this time, I had no intentions whatsoever of even leaving Michigan State, and then we came to the summertime where I got recommended to look into another AD position, which that led me down the rabbit hole of searching. I literally searched East Lansing Athletics to compare the facilities they had to what the other school had, and the first thing that came up in the job posting was the Lansing Catholic job posting. And prior to this, when I first heard about the other opening, I said to my wife, we're literally putting our kids into Catholic school, making this transition. If our children are going to be learning about it in school, we should just, we need to take them to church, and we need to make sure we're doing all the things. We need to lean into this fully for the betterment of our family, and have everyone become Catholic and have them baptized finally, and do those things. So then when I searched East Lansing Athletics, the first thing that popped up was Lansing Catholic job posting. And I was like, this is
God moment right there.
This God moment. So, and then I applied for both of them. I actually reached out to Deacon Jim, got me a hold of Lynn Collum, talked to her, applied the next day for both of the schools, and never heard from the other one. And it was like one thing after another that I was hired within 2 weeks of.
Here we are.
Yeah, here we are. So it was definitely meant to be, and an opportunity to be where my kids are going to be, and help grow this community. Like, we're going back to the family part of it, like help grow this community, not just as an administrator or through athletics, but as a parent myself.
So you were baptized as a kid, but then at the Easter Vigil coming up at St. Martha, you'll be making a profession of faith in the Catholic Church, and then receiving confirmation.
So you don't get the full immersion there?
No, but my whole family, my wife and 3 kids, will all be baptized, and my oldest 2 will be confirmed and take First Communion, and then our youngest will just be baptized.
How old's
Not just, but yeah, she's 5.
Yeah, because when they're under 7 years old, they usually separate them out like they do for other kids.
Yeah,
it's if you're above the age of reason, above the age of 7, then you get all
7,
3 of them.
You get all.
Yeah, get them all.
Yep. But no, the
one stop,
no full immersion, just to
Take it to the river.
Yeah.
I once did full immersion at just a regular Sunday mass at the parish because there was these.
Did they
two
know
kids.
you were going to do it?
The parishioners didn't. I mean, the kids in the family knew, but yeah, they just came to like their regular. It was actually a Saturday night mass. Like some of the older folks were there, and I was just like, "Well, everyone, just so you know, we're going to do a baptism today." And a lot of people said it was actually pretty cool.
Adorable,
I think it was kind of mass went a little longer, and they didn't like that so much, but it was cool to be there. So we're certainly excited for you, Kenny, and for your family. Also, Mrs. Paula Wilcox will be there. She's getting brought into the church, and then we have 6 students total, but 2 of them will be at St. Martha. So there's going to be quite a Lansing Catholic crew there at the St. Martha Easter Vigil this year.
The more the merrier.
Yep. 9 p.m. Come and join us.
Yes. It's a long one. I keep pointing people like, this is not just a normal mass. This is like 2 hours minimum.
I would say 2 hours is a little short there.
Yeah, and we got the recommendation last year to come. So we went last year to the Easter Vigil, which I think started at like 7 last year. But our daughter, Kennedy, the youngest, was
This is her bedtime.
Yeah, they're at 8:30 bedtime. So she's holding the candle and like turned her head and like catches her hair on fire.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so we're like putting up. My wife's like, she's like, "Are you sure we should be doing this?"
So one of my older brothers set my sister's hair on fire
on
years
purpose?
ago. Well, see, this is the thing.
Oh, there's a pause there, Father.
There's still, it's not clear whether it was on purpose or accidental.
Do they listen to the podcast?
I think the sister who's had this happen.
I feel like you're about to make somebody angry.
It wasn't me. It was a different brother, but he was pretty young, so it's hard to say whether it was intentional or not. But that happened in my family.
What happened to all the hair? Both you guys. Did the hair
it started to go
burning real fast.
My wife put it out real quick,
especially if they're using hairspray or something.
Yeah.
So my sister, she didn't even realize her hair was on fire because it was pretty long. It was an usher who saw it. So this guy runs up with his suit coat and puts it over her head, is like patting it out, and she's at first like, "What are you doing?" And then could smell it. Was like, "Oh,
good thing you wore a suit coat."
Yeah, good thing he had his suit coat. All right. Well, thanks so much, Kenny, for sharing a little bit about your story with us.
Absolutely.
Let's transition to some mailbag, some Q&A. We've got some questions that would be good for you to answer, actually. Okay. So how about we just go for it?
Yep.
First question is, what is the benefit of students participating in high school athletics?
Honestly, like it's a lot, right? Like obviously the sense of community and growing that, but so much more of that is getting to know people outside the classroom. I think you can really start to see personalities come out and then grow and develop. There's a huge chance for an opportunity for leadership, learning how to overcome adversity through things that are outside of your control, that aren't in a classroom. Wins and losses obviously come, but there's, multi levels, whether it be freshman, JV, varsity, depending on the sport, but you get a chance to put yourself out there in a way maybe that you haven't. And I've seen kids like this year we started the wrestling program, and there's a kid that I've watched from that signed up for it that I didn't expect to sign up for wrestling, and by the end of the season, just watching them walk around the halls, they're a different kid, and seeing them grow in the confidence, in their ability, and who they are, you really get to start to see that I think team sports bring out different aspects than individual sports, but both are extremely valuable. And just, the whole mission of the school is, right, developing the whole person and forming them. In that formation is a huge part of like helping them grow into who they're supposed to be.
Now, one question I get a lot is, Mr. Stolpa, how do we get as strong as you are? And I said, well, let me talk to Mr. Goodrich. Bench press, yeah. Eat more. So that's
Eat your spinach.
Protein and steak and spinach.
Yes. So, do we have anything available for the kids who want to get strong like me and you?
Yes. So currently there are opportunities after school with Mr. Krause in the CAP Center. Further into that, like if that's outside of what they can currently do, this summer we will have, and this goes for not just athletes, not just people interested in sport. This is everybody. But we'll have opportunities this summer where we're going to have, like with my background in strength and conditioning and Mr. Krause's commitment to helping the strength and conditioning program here, having lifting groups in the summer where we can lift and run. And what I want to do is bring the approach of college athletics to what we do here at Lansing Catholic. And I've seen this for, I had a women's golfer at Bowling Green stayed and trained with us for a whole summer. And she was lifting and running with the women's basketball and volleyball programs. And she was neither of those athletes. She was a golfer.
Just the time to get together. And
she, and what we were talking about, why participate in sport, she grew so much as a person that the next year when she was on, she blossomed into the captain of their team and was leading them in things, and just a whole different, like, it just awoke a different person from within her. And that all came through lifting and running with your not necessarily teammates, it could be anyone, but for here, your classmates, right? Like within the Lansing Catholic family. In the next school year, I'll be teaching a strength and conditioning class. And again, that one is open to everyone and encouraging, not just, I've gotten questions like, is this a football only class? Is this only for boys? No, it's for everybody. And I know, I've talked to multiple girls sports teams of, the same thing, like, and quite a few of those girls have signed up for the class. So the more people we get to sign up, the potential for more hours of the day that we could have it. But I'm encouraging everyone to.
Part of me thinks, Mr. Goodrich, that you felt you weren't busy enough, and now you're just trying to add more things to your life.
That's what my wife says too. She's like, "You're crazy.
Questioning your sanity here.
Yeah, you're nuts." And I'm like, "Yeah, but like, again, my daughter's going to be coming here, and I want this to be, want her to have as much of a, all these kids to have the same opportunity I'd want my own kids to have." And I have an awesome weight room in my garage, and that's where I currently train my kids. But being able to do that with everyone else's kids here would be, that's what I'd want for mine. So that's what I'll try to do for everyone else's.
Well, thanks so much, Kenny.
Good mailbag today, Father.
Yep, good questions. And that's pretty much all we have today, folks. So be sure to tune in next week. Actually, no, it'll be spring break.
I was going to say,
enjoy your spring break.
Father, where are you going on spring break?
I'm going on the spring break mission trip to Alabama.
Alabama, very
We could have
exciting.
talked about that. I didn't even talk about that. Well, there, now you know, folks. That's what's going on.
We'll do a recap. Yeah.
I actually thought maybe during the spring break, I might try to pull something together with live audio from things going on.
We want to hear the hammers and the nails.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe I'll post something during spring break, but
on the long drive down to Alabama.
Yeah, well, I'll be the one driving, so I probably won't be able to do much editing while driving. Well, have a great break, everybody, and we'll see you when you're back. I'm Father Joe.
And I'm Mr. Stolpa. We'll see you after break.